5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and excuse me, Mr. Secretary, appreciate you coming. The Department of Energy coordinates with NASA and other government agencies on space exploration, and it produces radioisotope power systems, or RPS, for NASA science missions. And according to Space Policy Directive Number 6, is tasked with supporting the development and use of SNPP systems, nuclear propulsion systems, to enable and achieve United States scientific exploration and national security objectives. To carry out this direction, SPD-6 lists a number of tasks for Department of Energy, such as cooperating with other agencies in the private sector on identifying feedstocks, assessing government and private sector requirements, conducting technology assessments and developments, and developing a lunar surface power demonstration project. Number one, has the Biden administration rescinded SPD-6?
I'm not familiar with that, but we do spend a lot of time and focus helping our NASA colleagues on nuclear use of nuclear technologies in space. So this is an area we're certainly leaning into.
Okay. Can you provide an update on the status of those tasks that are required by SPD-6?
Happy to follow up with you further on that.
That would be great. How much plutonium-238 has NASA requested from DOE for RPS systems, and how much plutonium-238 is DOE currently producing for NASA per year, and is DOE meeting NASA's requirements?
So happy to follow up on the particulars. I don't have those numbers offhand, but I will say that we coordinate quite closely with NASA. I spend a lot of time coordinating with my deputy counterpart at NASA and making sure that we've got a partnership all across the board. And it's a very strong and rigorous partnership. And if there's ways that we need to up our game even further, eager for your guidance and what we can do to be a better partner.
Very glad to hear. The Biden administration stated that the United States will fulfill its commitments to the European Union when it comes to delivering LNG. However, a German state-owned energy group recently signed a contract to receive Russian gas until 2040. The CEO of the energy group even stated that the administration's pause was a cause for concern, quote unquote. After the pause announcement, Qatar also announced that they are significantly expanding their LNG export capacity. How can the administration justify this pause when the EU countries and other allies are simply buying natural gas from Russia and Qatar instead? And in reality, is this actually supporting the Russian war effort in Ukraine?
So we are the largest exporter of LNG right now. Our increases have just been extraordinary over the last several year period of time. Just a few years ago, we were at 4 billion cubic feet per day. We're now at 15 or so billion cubic feet per day BCFD, and that's going to rise to 26 billion cubic feet per day under projects that are already under construction. We will remain the largest exporter. What we're seeing right now is Europe is actually using less natural gas. They've actually decreased the use of their natural gas 20% over the last 5-year period of time. Japan has plateaued their natural gas use and their need for LNG imports. The biggest additional potential source for our LNG to go to is China. They're expected that they could increase their LNG uptake 65% to 2030. So again, we are undertaking an analytical analysis, updating our analysis to make sure that we are performing the duty Congress has given us to make these public interest determinations as we consider exporting even more of our natural gas than what we've already authorized. And we've already authorized up to half of our natural gas production right now being exported.
Okay, has any independent organization assessed the impact of this pause on the environment or on the U.S. economy?
So this is what we're using our national labs and our civil servants to update our analysis to inform our public interest determinations. That's why we have the pause. That's why we have this analytical update, is to make sure that we're relying on the smartest people here. We're relying on their independent judgment, their expertise. We're running a variety of scenarios, looking forward in terms of the demand, looking forward in terms of the impacts on American consumers and American businesses who rely on natural gas as well. A lot of folks have pointed out that the more you export the more that puts upward pressure on our prices domestically. Right now, our consumers, our businesses pay 5 to 6 times less for natural gas than they do in Asia and that they do in Europe right now. And we need to take that into account. That's why we're doing this analysis.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting the information that you said you were going to give us.
Great, great. Happy to do it. And sorry not to have those numbers right offhand, Congressman.
Would Dr. Baird yield for just a moment?
Yes, sir.
I'm not an engineer by training, doctor, but an ag economist, and you and I have a little bit of political process here.
Right.
Would it seem that if you could provide an energy source to your great economic enemy that they're paying cash for, if you could addict them to using that, which would clean up their environment, wouldn't that give you more leverage ultimately?
You would sure think so, Mr. Chairman.
Wouldn't you believe that because of the way supply and demand works, that if you artificially restrict demand for a product, you're suppressing the potential investment? So if you can't sell your gas, there's going to be less gas delivered, explored, discovered, correct?
No question.
So in effect, you limit your transition fuel source, and at the same time, you limit your ability to create leverage with one of your greatest adversaries.
No question about it. I appreciate you. I'm glad I yielded my time to you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York for 5 minutes, Mr. Tonko.
Well, thank you, Chairman.